Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Juneteenth playback. My name is Ashley Thomas. I am the co-founder of Muse, the Miami Urban Contemporary Experience, and I am so honored to be here with you, honored to be able to host this amazing show. Today, we're going to be talking about navigating the corporate space. We have a series of digital playbacks from our Juneteenth experience. So if you don't know what Juneteenth is, it happened June 19th, directly after slavery. About a year or two later, the final Africans who were enslaved, African Americans who were enslaved, were now finally free. Every American was free in this country finally, but a year after the actual emancipation date of slavery. So we honored our ancestors on June 19th. With music, with art by Sandino Teme from a show called No More Blues. And we want to show you a little snippet if you weren't able to be there with us. The ancestors rained down on us. And so we're bringing all of the talks to you guys here live. And for a replay, for those who don't catch the show live, we're bringing some performers and amazing speakers who want to just share some nuggets with you, some golden nuggets that you can take back and take action in your life. Right now is a critical time in our country. I have never felt so afraid, if I had to say any other words. I'm smiling through it. I get up every day and I work through it. We all have to show up professionally. We all have to show up ready to do the job amidst of chaos, of unprecedented times, of militias shooting people in the street, of protesters going out by the thousands looking for equal justice. We are in a new space and a new era, Dean. And we want to talk about how we navigate this. And this is our kickoff to those conversations. We hope that something great comes out of it for you. My name again is Ashley Thomas with Muse, M-U-C-E, Muse 305. Let's check out the video, No More Blues.
Once again, welcome back to Muse Campus and welcome to No More Blues. We're glad to present No More Blues to make sure that at the end of the day, we know that art plays a significant role when it comes to social justice, when it comes to human rights. Art has always been in the forefront.
This show is a compilation of images of a 2013 protest that happened in Miami. It was ignited after the murder of Trayvon Martin and the rendering of the case not guilty to the plaintiff.
Like, the feedback has been really good, and it has been a conversation piece, which is what I wanted for like this gallery. Because when I looked at all the pictures, I saw rainbows of people coming together for like their brown brothers and sisters that are being oppressed, abused by systematic oppression.
What actually inspired me to do this piece, it's actually the death of George Floyd in those nasty conditions. And just to say something that Black Lives Matters.
What does Black Lives Matter mean to me? The fact that I'm even saying it makes no sense. Why should anyone have to even say those words? It should be a given.
No one's life is worth less than another one. So in terms of race or in terms of like, in any term, since we are human, we should share like the same rights and the same privilege.
So when Black people are free, all people can be free. We say their name so that they have an action to that freedom. We say their name so that our ancestors know we haven't forgotten the work that they have done for us. That's what Black Lives Matter. We know it matters. We want to let the world know and remind them, just in case they forgot, just in case they forget the many contributions that our culture makes to the world. We just want to remind them vocally and powerfully.
I pray for my kids every day because I want them to feel like they could go outside and not have to be afraid to walk the streets or not to be afraid to ask a police officer for help.
I think art really tells the narrative of our humanity, of our society. Throughout history, like, you can find many examples of artists, even with commission work, that would sneak in like the truth of what's happening. And I feel like with this work here, it's very relevant as well, because with the art, like, we have the liberty of actually saying the truth and painting it and actually feeling what's going on around us.
Here it is, like from 2013 to here we are 2020, we're back here at the same situation. Again, it makes no sense. It's senseless. We're blaming the cops, but I feel that the cops are really nothing but a scapegoat. It's the system, it's the judicial system that really, right now, that should be on trial.
My name is Oliga, and I'm here at the Muse campus.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sandino Timmy, and you can see me at the Muse campus.
Stay tuned, News 305. Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you. Thank you. So we hope that you enjoyed that video. The show No More Blues is still exhibiting at the Muse campus, and you can check it out every second and fourth Sunday through September 13th, 3 to 8 p.m. And the fourth Sunday of the month in September. You can also check out the show along with our Muse Open Air Market. So before we start the show, we have an amazing performer. I do want to give, just a moment of silence to the family of Jacob Blake. You can look up his name. We are tired of saying names, but we say one more. He is still alive. He is still alive. But we'll just take 1 second. Today's show is about navigating the corporate space. We're going to be talking about what does it feel like to be in those spaces as Black people when we show up. How do we create safer spaces for ourselves? And how do we take ownership of our career, the trajectory that we want it to go while in these very peculiar spaces to advance ourselves? We're also going to be talking about entrepreneurship, people who get into the space of saying, listen, I've been in that corporate space before. I'm ready to take it on myself. We're going to be looking at a few people who've done that. And of course, we're going to have some beautiful art for you today. So I want to actually introduce our featured performer artist for this show. His name is James Klin. He is an artist, writer, producer, and educator, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. He currently lives in Miami. Using his love of poetry, emceeing, and stage presence, he weaves performances deep in storytelling and varied musical expressions. James' work is centered around his life experiences, relationships, and spirituality. I'd like to go ahead and introduce our featured artist, performing artist for the show, Mr. James Klin.
Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm good, James. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I can't complain.
It's an honor to see you again.
It's a blessing. I appreciate you guys having me.
Look, I put you in Miami because I met you here. I actually don't know if you're still living in Miami, but I put you in. Okay, all right. So I love it. So I'm going to give you the floor, the space. Let us know what you're doing tonight, how you're going to open up the show.
This piece is untitled. I'm not sure what to call it, so I'm just going to get right into it. I think about our future and our history. I think about the beauty and the misery. I think about the writings on the walls and how we're still peaceful in the middle of a war, when we know for sure that they produce hysteria. Listen, the Valley of Death has been America, but people are out here talking about elections. When this country is cursed, peep its inception, read the message. Elijah Muhammad gave me direction. We were wearing gold, they were in the cold, butt naked. We gave them the lessons they make a mess with. We didn't kill that wave, and now we're drowning in their wreckage. Our greatest strength is our greatest weakness. We're compassionate while we're bleeding, holding the wounds of our ancestors as it's leaking past our fingers, dripping blood all over our new sneakers. When Lord knows you got to be fresh to be that strange fruit Miss Holiday sing about best. She said, there's blood on the leaves and blood on the roots. That means there's blood on our jeans and blood on our boots, truth. But still we walk the streets with pride, seeing all you've done, and yet we survive. Look in my eyes. With all this, we should be petrified. Instead, we find time to do the electric slide. Look, I'll never die. See, my spirit is ubiquitous. There's nothing they can do to get rid of us. But we're standing here like fools, doing all this fucking dancing and don't know how to move. We're trying to build something and don't have all the tools. We know that they're studying us, and yet we go to their schools. This is true. If you're uncomfortable, that's on you. That's on you, see? That's why we sing songs of peace. Because we didn't have instruments. That's why we make beats. I just want to be free and not be Sandra Bland at the hands of the police. My God, rest in peace. Imagine her giving a speech. That could have been my sister in them streets, screaming, dreaming, and bleeding for freedom. But before we have it, we have to define the meaning. Thank you.
Mm. Ooh, James, that was powerful. That was powerful. You say we're still peaceful in the middle of a war.
Mm-hmm.
So I woke up with that feeling of wondering, how does a country know when it's moving towards a civil war? I said that this morning. So that line resonated with me, extremely powerful. Blood on the leaves and the roots on our jeans and our boots. You are a powerful writer.
Wow,
I'm looking forward to giving the audience an opportunity to get to know you more. He's going to be back with another set. Thank you, James, for blessing us and blessing this navigating the corporate space.
Thank
you. Ooh, yes, we're compassionate. That was heavy, Elkin. Yes, I'm there with you. The entire piece really resonated with me, especially today, where we talked about, or I'm talking about, having to show up. So in the midst of crisis, in the midst of personal issues, in the midst of global challenges, we're still having to show up. We're still having to get the work done. I'm having to navigate, and I'm saying corporate space, corporate America. America is the business, right? So when you navigate America, you're navigating business all the time. And so I have a great guest who's going to come on to talk a little bit more about her journey navigating that space, how she's really carved out her passion in her career within our corporate realm, and things that you can do to make sure that you are living your fullest, bestest self in the midst of a war, finding your own peace. Dr. Keisha Gray, let me tell you a little bit about her before she comes to the stage, serves as the strategy manager for the Children's Services Council of Broward County. In her role as strategy manager, she leads the agency's efforts in strategic planning and community collaboration initiatives, providing guidance and support to Broward's Children's Strategic Plan. Dr. Gray serves as a member of the Broward Partners for Racial Equity, Broward People of Color Steering Committee, and the Broward Metropolitan Planning Organization's Community Advisory Board. She's also the chair of Stop Trafficking and Rescue Survivors, that's STARS. And she's on the committee that works this committee to address juvenile aspects of human trafficking. I'd like to introduce our guest speaker, our expert speaker to the stage. You guys can tell I'm live theater, Dr. Keisha Gray.
Thank you, Ashley. It's a pleasure being with you today.
Oh, Dr. Gray, I'm so honored to have you on the show. How's your day been?
It's been good. Juggling virtual school and working from home. Of course, you can imagine the challenges and the blessings that comes with.
Ooh,
so I've had it all today.
I love that, because it goes like, not only am I navigating the corporate space, the mommy space, and now the educator space. Has a pivot? Oh, because Broward already started, right? You guys started?
Yeah, we've been in now 8 days. Today was our 8th day. Can you tell I'm counting?
You'd be like, boom, waiting for that weekend, huh?
Yes. Friday cannot get here sooner.
I love it. So Dr. Gray, I want to get into your story. You are a powerhouse, in Broward, you have made a name for yourself. I want to talk a little bit about where you started, and what steps you took to get into this, I'm going to say, these powerful positions that you're holding, from steering committees to leading entire councils and their strategic plans. Tell us a little bit about, and where are you from, Dr. Gray? Are you Miami native? Give us a little bit of backstory.
So I am the proud daughter of Sharon Grant I hail from Kingston, Jamaica. So I was born and raised in Jamaica, and I came here at the early age of 18, seeking a higher education, and actually went to school in Michigan. And so I was in Michigan for about 7 years, and I thoroughly enjoyed my experience there. I think that really pivoted and has really shown me the path or my journey for what I've done here in the United States. And so that journey in Michigan, I think, really exposed me. Because growing up, I came here for the summer. My family lives in Florida and New York, where many of our Jamaicans settle. But this was like going to Michigan was an eye opener for me. I think, that really exposed me to what it means to be a Black woman in America. I didn't know it at the time, but now, I cherish those experiences. And I think that is what, one, helped me to find my passion and to understand what it means to follow my passion while navigating the American space. So it's been a blessing in disguise.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I heard like you got outside of your comfort zone, because I assume Michigan, when I think about the demographics, we're subtropical and we are the gateway to the Caribbean.
Yes.
So we're almost, you go from the Caribbean to here, the dominant culture, and growing up in Jamaica, you are the dominant culture. And I'm going to actually talk about that a little bit. And then going to Michigan gave you insight on what it feels like to be a Black woman in America. What was one of those moments where you had like a aha, I might be a minority moment?
Oh, wow. When didn't that happen for us? And so I think that moment really happened for me when I realized that I was at a PWI. I didn't even know what that meant, but it was a predominantly white institution. So I didn't know about a HBCU. Now I know what a HBCU is. And I realized that my first pick was actually to go to a HBCU. So I did want to go to FAMU. And I haven't given up the dream. I still think one day I'm going to take a class at FAMU just because I wanted that experience. And FAMU is near and dear to my heart. But my journey took me to Michigan. I think one of the first experiences for me where I realized in Michigan that, I was really the minority was when people started asking me questions that they treated me differently. That was probably the eye opener. But I do remember going to the grocery store and in Charlotte, Michigan, and it was actually Kmart, and there was a little child with her mom, and it was probably about 7 of us that came up from Jamaica that year, and we were studying together, and we were all at Kmart because that's where we went to go get groceries. And the little girl looked up and said, "Mommy, I see Black people, ha ha ha." And it was like, okay, all right, Mommy, I see Black people. Yeah. So, I think that was, my wide, like, okay, all right, now we got to figure out, okay, well, maybe that was not appropriate. What's Mommy going to say? But, I'm 18 and didn't really quite get it, but that resonated for me. And I think that was the moment when I realized in America and where I was, it was very different. And so that was the moment for me.
And I say rip to Kmart because I think Kmart is completely gone now, because I remember shopping at Kmart, Do you feel, so before I get into how did you get into the position like as a strategic leading the agency's efforts and their community collaboration as a strategy manager for Children's Services of Broward?
So you earlier you spoke about following your passion, right? And so early on in my career, I realized that I was passionate about giving back, and I was passionate about building. And so my first job was a resident advisor. So that within itself is a job where you're giving back to the community where you live and study. And so that started me down that path. And then as I continued to grow and learn more about the American experience, I was a computer science major. So to go from computer science all the way over to where I am now, yes, it's still analytical, but it's more over on the social services side. So it was definitely a change, but it allowed me to follow my passion, to give back. And I really owe a lot of that to how I was raised. I'm from a family of teachers. I'm a family, my grandmother was like that person in the community that ran like the community partner. She was, the person who gave back to the community. Now I know more about her. She recently passed, but she sat on like the school's board. Even though she had very little formal education, she was on the school board. So just little things like that. I think it was in my DNA and it was in my blood. And so I wanted to find ways after my experiences in Michigan to really be able to create change. And the only way to do so was sort of the trajectory that I ended up taking with the work that I've done so far.
So do you feel like that pivot, And just so like 'cause the word is pivot right now, right? So you
Yes.
felt from taking that from computer sciences and computer technology to that pivot to more, what I say, social service in that
Yes.
space. You found a calling for yourself there.
Yeah, I think I've definitely found and I've been able to follow my passion. And when you follow your passion, you know, you eat, sleep, and breathe your work. And so that's definitely what I've been able to do. You know, children, and just being able to support them and making sure we have safer communities for them is something, you know, whether or not I had this full-time job, I think that's definitely something that I would be involved in anyway. And so this has been a real blessing for me.
Have you ever experienced racism in the workforce?
Oh, wow. So yes, and I could tell you stories about that. You know, one of the first things I remember is, so not only am I a Black woman, I'm a Black immigrant. And so when I started this journey, I was on a student visa. And so as I navigated the space of going from a student visa to a work visa, there were times when, you know, there were some covert and overt situations that happened in the workplace where I think I really had to just bite my tongue and hold it in. But at the same time, there were times when I did have to speak up. So I think back to a simple situation where I had to be an advocate for my staff. So I had a staff member when I worked at a university, and I was not present in a meeting, but somebody referred to her as a colored girl like yourself. And so that was hard for my entire team. And so I had two choices, right? I could not speak up, or I could speak up and educate at that point. And so I decided to be an advocate for my students. And that really, I became a champion for equity there. And just really just making sure people understood. At the time, we were calling it diversity education. You know, we weren't really calling it racial equity and so I had to have those tough conversations and just make sure that people understood how that word, you can't use it. You can't use it to refer to other people. And so I think that for me was one of those situations where I had to step into that role of being an advocate.
Got them together. So I worked at a little personal story. So I worked at a prestigious university in Los Angeles, California, and I won't say the department or the school, but predominantly white institution. And I was one of the graduate admissions counselors at the time, which was not my calling. I was in LA to be a performer. So like the creator kicked me, he helped move me along, but it was a very painful process, out of that office. And I had to report my supervisor. Our main boss was Black, he was white, but they'd be like, well, how do we accept people on these applications? Well, let's just see if they play hip hop, or if they enjoy clubs. Like it was really, and then there was a program to help minorities get into the graduate program there, into their dental school. And they were like, oh, well, he specifically, stated, they can't keep up anyway. We give them these seats that could be somebody else's, spot. And most times we have to do extra help to even help these students. They don't deserve it, And, I just bounced back. I was like, well, my grandfather couldn't go to school here. And it wasn't because he didn't deserve it. It was just his skin color, that he couldn't do it. I kind of checked him, but I actually had to report it. And it was very challenging. The entire office the entire floor turned against me. I was a pariah. The head boss, who was a Black woman, she was so hurt that I had said anything. She canceled the Christmas party because of me. I mean, it was just a horrible experience.
But the good thing was that you were supported. And I think a lot of times when we experience those things, we're not supported. So that was.
But I want to ask you this question, because I'll lead to this, because you said supported, right? I was able to report it and he did get in trouble, but I was ostracized completely. So how do we create, or have you been in a position, or your suggestions on creating safe space we do advocate for ourselves and the actions can be quite adverse?
So I like to say, one, you need to surround yourself with a powerhouse, right? So you want to make sure that you surround yourself with people who can support you. And oftentimes that can be hard in the workplace, because I think back to days where I was sometimes the only Black person in the room, the only Black staff member, the only Black student in the class. So I think one of the things that's been helpful is surrounding myself with those trailblazers, even outside of those spaces, that can be supportive, that can help me to navigate those spaces. And just making sure that I hold myself accountable as well, and do those call outs. And so now in my current role, I am very much more equipped to do those call outs and to make sure that when I'm in that space to be supportive, that I am doing that. I think about the work that we're doing right now, that looks at the criminalization of our Black girls in schools. And so I could have chosen not to address that topic and be like, that's not really my issue. You know what? I don't have girls. I don't quite get it. I'm a mom of boys. There are several ways where I could have stepped away from that conversation, but I've gone all in. And so whenever I have that opportunity, I am raising those issues and making sure that we understand how we create policies and how we create systems that continue to disenfranchise our Black girls. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. So what I heard from that is like surround yourself with community. So sometimes it could be in work, but a friend of mine, Dr. Asha Brushi, goes, work your net. So it may not be at the office, but having those advocates for yourself. I also heard if you're in leadership, be willing to listen and speak up. So if you're in a leadership, you're in a powerful position, you can also be an advocate. And I heard lean into the challenges, even if they aren't yours personally. So you can lean into those challenges. But the one thing I take from that is support, because I didn't have that network. I was pretty new. And so that support would have been nice to have, which I found in the arts community more, just to be honest, I left that space and continued in my passionate space and stayed there. Tell me one project that you're most, excited about, happy about, or fulfilled by in the world that you're in right now.
Ooh. So I have to say it has been this equity work that we've been doing, because I've been able to really infuse it in the day-to-day work. And so when we were bringing our community, bringing our other social services agencies along this journey, sometimes it was just my agency at the table. Sometimes it was a conglomerate. So it was the United Way, it was Broward County, it was several other agencies helping us. And now we have really grown that, and we've planted the seed in our community. And I've really seen agencies take a step and be brave, create brave spaces for their organizations as well as for our community. And so I see procurement changes happening in our community. I see agencies, our agency just made Juneteenth a holiday. And so that's something where 3-4 years ago, we might not have thought of that happening. But to have Juneteenth be a holiday for us to recognize its importance as an agency, it creates a space in our community where other organizations can begin to be brave, to make sure that we're creating policies that allow smaller Black-owned businesses to have access to contracts. And so this work has really grown and has blossomed in our community. And so our youth feel safe, and everybody in our community feels safe and empowered to be a part of the change.
I love it. I love it. So I hear the passion. I hear those things are fulfilling you. And I love the Equity Project. And shout out to Juneteenth being an official holiday. Okay. I'm there. Yes. Oh, and you're doing such an amazing job leading Broward. Yes. In these efforts. Broward's ahead of the game. Or I say trailblazing here. I love it. I love it. We'll all follow suit. Passion. So you were in computers and you went into a space that you found more passion. People find it hard sometimes because they think about financial security. I make more money doing technology, but I love serving people. I make less money doing this. Has it been a challenge for you financially to make those shifts? Do you suggest to people, don't worry about if there's a salary cut, or can people actually compete with their, salaries in higher paying jobs, less, passion and enjoyment?
So I will say that along this journey, there have been times when I haven't had the opportunity to go after certain jobs, because when I held a work permit, I sort of had to give up certain dreams, um, because I had to find a path to citizenship. And so I did have to make those calls earlier on in my career. I've been blessed to have a very supportive husband. And so I've been able to make those decisions of taking a pay cut so I can be more there for my family. But I've also been blessed in terms of being able to hold the job that I have and have his support to be out in the trenches doing the work that we need to do to move our work forward in Broward. And so I would say, for me, my 9 to 5 is my passion, but I do have a passion to one day own my own. So I think we need to be able to find a balance. I think Black people, people of color, have a space in our communities to really provide services that other people can't. And so we need to own that, and we need to be in that space. So if you can have the best of both worlds, take it. But we do need more Black-owned businesses in our communities.
Oh, that was powerful. That was powerful, Dr. Gray. So we need both. We need both, and we need more ownership in the space. And so as our corporate, fellows continue to embark on those journeys, just keep in mind that, and, owning a business, you can do it in your passion, and you can also own an Amazon store and make a lot of money. I'm just saying there's ways to do this at the same time. Because we have a few minutes, and I want to ask you another question, being a mother. And because, sometimes we skip that, as professionals, we go, oh, I'm in the corporate world and I have kids, but, I don't talk about that. I heard before we were online, we were talking about, school and, being now the virtual educator or having to keep up with the school schedule. How are you doing it as a parent, as a businesswoman, as someone who needs a little self-care sometimes, and then an advocate for others? How are you doing it?
Being honest with myself. And when I need those moments of self-care, those moments of not doing anything, I take it. I have I'll go in my room sometimes and I'll tell everybody, no boys allowed, no male species allowed in my room. And I own that, right? But that's also a luxury and a privilege, because there's single moms out there, there's single dads who don't have that opportunity. But I would say to everybody, if it's even an hour, if it's 15 minutes a day, find that space where you can be by yourself and to get yourself centered. What's been helping me are to-do lists. So I start my day each day with those non-negotiables that I have to get done, and I try not to make them too much. So 3, I try to keep it to 3. And then also being able to ask for help. And to scream when I need to scream. I'll call my girlfriends, I'll call my mom, I'll call the husband, whoever I need to call in that moment to let them know, you know what, this virtual school is giving me a fight today and I need some support. So just be real, be your authentic self, and know that this is new for everyone. Your kids are struggling to do this just as much as you're struggling to do it.
So I love the power of 3. That's a very tangible giveaway there. Making a list, scheduling your day, creating normalcy in an abnormal space, and scream a little bit. I will take that. I receive it. I will take the permission and go in the closet. A friend, she's like, I'll just go in the closet and scream a little bit.
It helps.
Yes. Dr. Gray, thank you so much for being here with us. We're navigating the corporate space, very powerful nuggets that you shared there. And I feel like things that people can actually incorporate into their lives. Tell us how people can find you or more about the projects that you work on.
So if you'd like to know more about the Broward Children's Strategic Plan, you can definitely go on our website, cscbroward.org, and you'll find a plethora of different information, the work that we're doing in the community, as well as how to be a community builder and to be a change agent in Broward, and also to find out more about how you can get tapped in to our racial equity work. And if you do own a nonprofit in the community that is serving children and families. We do have capacity building mini grants that are out on the street right now just for a few more days. So you can get some funds to help you with some fundraising and to learn how to do some board development. And so we do take care of the family and parents as well. But to find me as an individual, I am on LinkedIn and I'm active there. So if you just look me up, Keisha Hill Gray, I do still have my maiden name on there. Or I'm also on IG as Dr. Keisha Gray. And on Twitter.
Yes. Twitter.
Yes.
Oh, Dr. Keisha, great. Everyone, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. Thank you for the work that you're doing, because the next generation is going to be solving all of these problems that
I know, right?
That the generation before us created. Okay, so thank you for nurturing them. Have a great evening, Dr. Gray.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
All right.
Oh, y'all, that was good, right? Yes, I know. I saw it. Double tap that. Okay, so I just going through that list from a pivot. You can do what you love. You can do what you love. You can pivot into having more passion. Have support systems. We talked about what does it look like to have support. Some of us get isolated. Social media becomes our friend. You need a network and you need to work your network. So just, and it may not always be about business, but go on a bike ride with your friends, call someone you haven't spoken to in a while. And you're like, this is about navigating the corporate space. You need community. I know that the world tells us that we don't, but we can see more than ever right now that we absolutely, absolutely need community. She said, take a moment. You get permission to go in the closet if that's all the space you have, to scream and to cry a little bit. Make your list. 3. You can make 30,000 things on there, but accomplish the top 3, and then whatever else comes, you can go ahead and come from that. Thank you, Dr. Gray. We're going to keep going here. Thank you, everyone who's tuning in. Again, my name's Ashley Thomas with Muse. Just a few announcements. Hi, Sharon. Hi, thank you, Ms. Grant, for logging in and logging on, watching the show. Muse campus is in the heart of Little Haiti. So we actually are having lots of different activities for our community. We're talking about building community. We do a lot of community building through the arts. We have an art gallery in our space, and we've converted this old mechanic shop into a funky cultural space full of art, full of plants and a nursery, full of outdoor fun things you can do in an indoor space as well. We want you to come hang out with us a little bit. We have movement classes Tuesday through Thursday, free yoga on Fridays for all of us trying to get back into our bodies, get a little bit of outside with some social distancing. And we also have the Muse open air market that's coming every second and fourth Sundays. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that and how to get involved. So we heard from Dr. Gray. She's talking about navigating that corporate space and what it looks like. I want to get into a conversation with a creative. He's a featured artist and also an entrepreneur on the show. His name is Applejacks. I met him recently. He was actually one of the partners who made Juneteenth possible, and just an amazing story that he has, and I'm excited to share it with you. So let me tell you a little bit about him. Applejacks was born in St. Louis, Missouri, the youngest of 2 boys. He arrived in Miami along with his brother after his mother permanently moved to the Magic City, and we're not talking about Magic City, we're talking about Miami as a whole, following her separation from his dad. At 10th grade, he'd written and recorded an album with a childhood friend. By 10th grade. So he already had that creative mindset and that entrepreneurial spirit. David, aka Applejacks, as we know him, honed his skill and became one of the most highly sought after creative directors in Miami. In 2017, he formed his company, The System Life, with the mantra, create your own. Applejacks tells authentic stories with photography, videography, and production, as well as curating experiential events. He's worked with the likes of Nike, Adidas, Fila, Mitchell & Ness, Cool J's, Rick Ross, Rocco, King Hoodie, Ryla World, The Elements, City of North Miami Beach, and many, many more. I would like to introduce our guest, Applejacks. Ooh.
How you doing?
How you doing?
What's up?
Hi,
I'm good. Appreciate it having me.
You're very important. Did you hear that? I'm like, that resume.
It sounded big.
Right? So, Apple, tell us how are you doing today? How are you doing with society right now? How is work going as an entrepreneur for you right now? in these times?
So for me, to be honest with you, I don't know if it's the grace of God or luck or whatever, but I've been pretty busy, like super busy. So I take on a lot of projects, kind of like it could be a downfall, but I love so many different things that I can't stop myself from like trying to create different stuff.
Tell us 3 things that you love.
Music, movies, and ideas.
And ideas, which are all 3 things that you actually work in and like
Yeah.
and do. So that's beautiful. I want to actually show people a little bit of your work, and then we'll get into a little bit of conversation. So he does a lot of creative content. He has a beautiful website where you can see a lot of this work and actually work with him. Apple, tell us a little bit about this piece.
So that's actually a good friend of mine and actually a partner in a record company that me and 2 other people are partnered in. He's actually a music producer and was raised in the Pork and Bean Projects in Miami. So we went to actually visit his aunt that day, and we were just kind of talking to her, and I brought my camera, so I figured like, hey, I'm gonna shoot a few pictures, and it just felt right. I really like capturing people in the essence of like, I'm not into like the setup photo shoot. Like I could do it and it's cool and I love it, but I really like capturing things that you see on the normal, like everyday basis, but it's just like, it has so much meaning to it. Like it just, to me, this picture says a lot, you know, just the color tone is like that, the street light, and then the blue sky and like homeboy on his phone, and you can see the light in the back of the room and in the house, you know, it's just like,
Cool. I love it because you can see, I think I have a little echo in there. Sorry about that. So I can see that humanity. I mean, you can see the like just the every day is happening. And the sun is setting. If it's or the light is right there, just glowing. And you go. We see so many images of Black men with locks, and not this way. We don't get to just experience the person as a normal person. It's either villainized or glorified, not just human, you know, in that space. So I think you definitely capture that humanity in his eyes.
I appreciate it.
And what about this one? Tell us a little bit.
This is another brother.
I know this artist.
Yeah, that's another brother of mine. Dan B. He's a poet, and he also makes music and performs. So we actually took a trip to Philly and Jersey, and we were on the mission of creating content. So this actually happened right before we jumped on to the airport. We were like literally heading to the airport, and I'm like, yo, let's just pull over because there's this cool little neighborhood. Like when you leave Miami, I love Miami, and I've been here my whole life since '85. But when you leave Miami, there's so many different structures that we don't have here. And it's really like, I guarantee people that live other places, they say that about Miami. They see the palm trees and the beaches and the house structures, but we don't have certain looks. So we just kind of pulled over and shot a whole bunch. He just went through his clothes real quick and, you know, and we shot a whole bunch of pictures. And it just like this whole photo shoot really came out like, I'm hard on myself. I'm like a super perfectionist. I'm a Virgo. So like this shoot really, I was pleased with.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So I want to actually move to look at that. Look at that. Tell me how the inspiration behind this image happened. What was going on this day and how did you get this shot?
So this is an amazing, like if you think of an artist who's amazing, he's one of those. He can sing, he plays piano, he acts, he does drama and theater, he writes, he raps, he produces, is a comedian, like a real comedian. So he actually was, he moved to Connecticut and came down for a week, and I'm like, yo, we gotta capture some stuff. So he's very like, I'm not a wordsmith, so for lack of a better term, he's very like, not bubbly, but like, he has a lot of different emotions, and he's like
expressive.
Yeah, he can do whatever though, and he's very funny. So like, all right, let's, very animated. That's exactly the word. Thank you. James Clinton is my brother too. So we just kind of put it together. We had a little color scheme that I wanted to run with, and we actually like drove around the neighborhood a little bit. Like I think we were in like Fort Lauderdale or something, and we just pulled over in some weird little Smallville looking community, and just pulled over and shot a whole bunch of pictures, and we grabbed some balloons and just made it work.
I love that.
A lot of my stuff doesn't have like super plan.
But it's
It's just,
powerful.
you
So,
know, I
so
just
I
like
want to
it.
actually, I want to talk to you a little bit about, and what we'll do is, when like, if, oh, look at that. All right. So yeah, our producer in the background, she's going to show us a few of your images, and we're going to look at, oh, hold on that one. What happened here? Was that literally just a shot?
Yeah, it was. There was a heavy shadow. I mean, there's a little bit of contrast that I turned up to like darken it a little bit, but there was a heavy shadow because his dress was hanging. This is actually I know this kid for a long time. We grew up together in North Miami Beach, and he's whatever. But we shot some pictures one day, and this image I kind of loved out of all. We got a lot of super dope images, but like the shadow was so heavy on his face. I'm like, yo, it looks like you're not even there. Like it's just a being, like a, you know, it's like you trapped or something. And yeah, I kind of added a little contrast to give the face a little bit more darkness, but this is cool.
So as the images come, I'm just gonna talk. Aren't they beautiful? He's a powerful photographer. If you want to see some of his content, creative content, you will have his site up. You can follow him on Instagram, and then The System Life is the company. Tell me why and how you started the company. Before you do that, because some people might go, well, you know, all these images, they're very beautiful, and you know, they're Black people, and I want to state the obvious, you know, you're not a Black guy, even though I see you as a brother. So and you guys see you as a brother, as an ally, but like how's I'm curious, like navigating a space where you actually turn into a minority in a sense.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of funny, and this is gonna he's stupid. It's kind of funny because this is gonna sound crazy, but one time I had a meeting with somebody, and this happens a lot, but I just think about this one time, and just for an example, I had a meeting with somebody at Starbucks on Miami Beach. This was about 2 years ago, and I walked in, and I'm in line, and let me just say I don't really like Starbucks. But I'm in line. I just don't like the coffee. But anyways, I'm in line, and I'm just kind of like thinking to myself. I'm looking around, and I'm like, wow, the only Black people in here are the ones working. I was like, that's kind of crazy, you know. And then I think about that a lot. Like I walk into, and I say that to say, like, for some reason, when I walk into rooms and it's all white people, is when I notice it.
He be feeling like the rest of us sometimes.
I noticed like, oh, there's no Black people in here, or it's, you know. But when I walk into a room, or an event or a basketball court, or whatever, and I'm the only white person, nothing triggers in my head, you know. Whatever that means, it is what it is. Like I don't know. I was raised in a predominantly Haitian neighborhood. So maybe that's, you know, a test to it.
That's did you experience any moments like, because that's it, like you are culturally enriched, if I have to put any other words to it. How has that affected your art and how you make art yourself as someone who goes, you actually feel more comfortable in the Black space because that's where you grew up? What has that journey been like for you? I'm going to ask a question as well. Do you feel like there's any levels of white privilege in your life, you know, in your career, in the space that you fit in? And then, you know, if not, what does it look like in allyship, you know, with you and the culture that you capture so eloquently?
So in life, 1000% there's white privilege. I do think there's levels of white privilege, right? There's a level of white privilege where you don't understand what that is because you're white. That's white privilege to extreme, right? People that are ignorant to what's going on in society and life outside of what they're used to. And then there's white privilege, the fact that I'm probably treated a certain way because I'm white. I don't know if that makes sense. So like if I get pulled over by the police, maybe he looks at me and he sees that maybe I'm not like him to a certain degree, and he curses at me, but it's just a curse word. He's not pulling me out of the car, and you know what I'm saying? Like, of course I've been harassed and everything like that, but I think that you know, people that don't realize what the privilege that they have is the real white privilege. You know what I mean? So like, I'm very aware, like I'm tight, like I'm very happy, you know what I mean? I'm very positive. So like I joke about it. Like one day we were driving to Texas for with a whole bunch of artists for South by Southwest, and we got pulled over by the police in like the middle of Louisiana. And I'm like, don't worry, I white this whole thing up. Like, we gonna use this my privilege. You know what I mean? But you know, it is what it is. So,
I love it. I love it. So it's called like that's what I go like great allyship and great friendship. So I have a diverse group of friends, and they understand my life right now. I understand their lives right now. Yes, and that was very funny. We have people in the background, guys. You can't see it, but they're chatting us up in the background, and it makes us chuckle. So Apple, I love your work. I am so inspired to continue to get to know more about you. The System Life, tell us, I know you started it 2017. What inspired that start? And we're at time, but you know, I'll go quick. I into the conversation. But then I want you to tell people why you chose an entrepreneurial path. Like what took you down that road and what makes you stay committed to that? And if they wanted to get into entrepreneurial spaces, say if they're navigating the corporate world now, how could they make that transition? Do they just go for it? Do they jump? Do they, you know, slide into it? You know,
yeah. So definitely one thing that I'm like 1,000% for is like following your passion. Like Dr. Gray was saying, like, if you don't do anything in life, follow your passion. And the trouble with that is like a lot of us don't know what our passion is. I personally, since I was a little kid, always loved a lot of things. So I knew right away, like, I never wanted to tuck my shirt in and clock in for somebody from day one. Like I had a million jobs. I had every job you could think of. I've worked at retail. I've worked taking, washing dishes, delivering food, lawn service, like all the bottom of the barrel jobs. And I always knew this is not for me. Like I need to work for myself. I need my freedom, and I love to create. So with that being said, I started to work with artists and, you know, built it up from there. And then I was a teacher for 8 years. I was a PE teacher. And I just one day I was like, after like 7 or 8 years, I'm like, you know what? I was already shooting videos and stuff like that. I said, I got to jump out the window. If I don't do it now, it's never going to happen. And I'm just going to, you know, inch my way. So I just did it and started the company. My brother actually gave me the name because I was trying to come up with something that is kind of like a little bit thought provoking. You know, everything I kind of do and I'm into is very like thought provoking. So like I always listen to like music that was a little bit more lyrical than the average. So within that, the system life is kind of like we're living in this life of a system, but we don't have to. You gotta, and that's why the slogan is kind of like create your own. So it's like anything you want to do, like, yo, you could create it and actually live off it. Like, so.
It's a powerful logo that you have there. It's a powerful logo. So for people who we don't have it here, but when you check out his website, you'll see it. It says the System Life, and then right through system, you know, is a line. And it does exactly what you intended it to do. We felt that power. So you're saying do your passion, follow your passion, follow your dreams. One thing that I want to point out that you said as well is you had already started. You as a technician, as a content creator, you were already doing it before you left. So you actually honed your skill, you know, before you moved on. So, you know, people looking, you know, don't wait to start honing those skills. Like use that money to hone those skills. Is there any last words you want to leave with the people? Any inspiration and how they can find you on social?
Just find out what you're into and do it. And you're gonna like the cliche phrase of follow your passion and it'll pay off is so real. It's incredible because I know that now everything I do to make money in this field is not something I want to do. You know, whether it's maybe some corporate stuff or some graphics for whatever, like maybe I don't really want to do that, but I know the difference of when I'm doing something that I'm really loving to work on, the quality is just way richer. And so you really gotta find out what you like and follow it and do it to the extreme because you're gonna love it and it's gonna show. It's gonna show in your work. You can find me Applejacks, Appel. That's actually my last name, Jax, Jax at on Instagram, and thesystemlife.com, and that's pretty much it. I'm actually working on an album right here with James Clyn, executive producing, and that'll be out soon.
Ooh, I cannot wait to hear the album. Thank you for sharing with us your content, your creation, your entrepreneurial nuggets. I heard, sometimes you're going to take jobs as an entrepreneur in those corporate spaces because we're still navigating that corporate space. They have those dollars. Sure. We're going to take those dollars. Okay, guys? So
and you got to do a lot for free. You have to do a lot for free. You got to build your catalog. Don't be scared. I've done a lot of stuff for nothing.
I love that. When you're saying that the first year of Muse, we made, no money. We're in the double-digit negative, just marketing ourselves, letting people know you could get us for a pop-up exhibition. Will we ever see your work in a gallery, or have you exhibited?
For sure. I have a very, very grand idea for a gallery event, and I'm just kind of like funneling through like the ideas, and really, I'm like super perfectionist, so like it has to be perfect. But yeah, for sure. Yes.
Well, Muse in the running for that. We'd love to work with you. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Apple.
I appreciate it.
Have a good one. You guys follow him. Look at the work. Amazing work. I was inspired the minute I opened this. When I met him, I was like, oh, okay, Applejacks, how you doing? Nice to meet you. We're talking Juneteenth. He's there like, yo, yeah, I'm here. What's up, everybody? He's an amazing speaker, as you can see, and he's doing awesome work in the community. If you need content, if you need photography, videography, he does this work as well. I'm going to actually move on to the show. We're talking about navigating our corporate spaces, ownership. So Dr. Gray gave us some really good nuggets on how we navigate that space, advocating for ourselves, and also the importance of ownership. So even if you're in that corporate space, creating other streams of income, and it doesn't have to be the hard way. I mentioned you can start an Amazon store. If you like to do that, you can blog. These things actually do make you money. You can share products on Instagram. It takes a little time, but these are small things that you can do. Share your story, and people pay for them. People pay for these things. So think about how the hobbies that you have already can become another stream of income as you navigate that corporate space. We have Tree Hugging Soap who's going to talk a little bit. We have vendor highlights every single show in honor of the opening of the Muse Open Air Market that's happening every second and fourth Sunday of the month starting in September from 3 to 8 p.m. So September 13th, you can come out to our open air market. You can meet vendors. You can circulate those corporate dollars into our local communities and make sure these businesses thrive and stay alive during these unprecedented times. Let's bring on my friend from Tree Hugging Soap, all natural, homemade soap, skin care, and hair care products, which I use too. Hello. Drew.
Oh, Lord Jesus on the main line. Girl, I'm up here, put my stuff on. I'm getting ready to go to bed.
Oh,
y'all caught me right in the middle of putting my mask on. I'm sorry about that, y'all. Actually, I'm not sorry. Let me tell y'all about this, right? What I'm putting on right here. This is called Mystical Mud. This will pull everything out your skin, including your bad ancestors. You understand what I'm saying to you? And you just leave it on for 30 minutes or 2 days, whatever your choice is, because it's just so natural. Mystical Mud. Sorry about that, Ash. Go ahead. What would you say?
Oh my gosh, Mr. Drew. What a great way for people to meet you. Tell them, let's tell them about Tree Hugging Soap. I use these products. They're amazing. They smell great. I said it's gourmet soap that you want to eat, but you're not supposed to. Tell us, Drew, how did Tree Hugging Soap become? What is it, and where can we find it?
Well, first of all, how y'all doing, family? We are family. Tree Hugging Soap is something that me and my wife came up with, and it started out as a joke. Actually, not a joke, but just sort of a passing of time. I was bored. We was at Michael's one day, and so she was shopping for some items, And she said, why don't you just go over there and make some candles, jokingly. So I walked over there and saw these little kits that they had, right? And it was called Melt and Pour, which you can, everything comes in it from the fragrance, and all you have to do is heat it up, pour it into a mold, and add your fragrance and color. So, and that particular day, I was at Mecca's house, and so I made some, and when it was done, I let Mecca try it. He was like, man, this is good. Which he was lying. I know he was lying. I know he was lying. That's my homie, but he was lying because it didn't lather up. And you know, one thing about me, I love when soap lathers up.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So now there was another, and let me go back. It was an event that y'all did. You remember the guy? He was doing a market in his backyard.
Yes, with Canty. He did Conscious Fridays. Yep.
Exactly. Y'all invited me out to this particular event, and a young lady was there. Her name is Bodie, my mentor to this day. And so when I looked at her soap, I was like, Lord Jesus, why do her soap look so natural, right? And she broke it down, and she told me how to go about, you know, what the process was. And me, I'm old school. I'm a student. I'm a student of life. You know, you want to remain a student. This is how you learn. This is how you process, you know, life, and you get by and you hustle. So when she told me, that light bulb went off, and you know, my hustle came in, and I went home and ordered some of the products, and I've been doing it ever since.
Oh,
my soap look just like hers.
Oh, Bodie. Tree hugging soap. What is that, charcoal? Look, I'm like, which one is that?
That's activated charcoal.
Activated.
Now, and you want to be, and once you start getting into, you know, it, to me, making products is an art. You know, coming from the music business, you know, coming from that era, from the music game, the business, and you got into it, you know, because when me and Bart was doing it, it was no such thing as you didn't use your mind. You had to be creative. And during that time, you taught artists how to chant to themselves and dig in and pull out that charisma. And there was no how it is watered down now. You know, you had to apply, you know, your artistry. And so I've always used that to apply, you know, my hustle and what I do today, and not have that pride and not being afraid to go there, because you can accomplish and do anything that you want to do. You know, it's all here, you know. And so this led, you know, creating the soap led to forming a company, you know, because at the time, it only started with the soap. Now we have a product line from the creams to the deodorant, of course, to, let me show you a few of the items. Before I do that, please. Is there anything you want to ask me, Ash? Because you know,
you answered my question, because I was going to ask you how you made that transition. You know, one, I said divine intervention for that trip at Michael's. Like, I got to give a shout out to Michael's, because that day started the journey to the soap that I use on my body, you know, every day. So I think that's very powerful. So a little bit like what was that moment where you knew? Why are you giving yourself a facial? See, you know what? We're going to have a whole facial workshop with Drew, okay? That you knew you were going to go from music. Was it gradual? I'm going from music to, you know what, I'm doing tree hugging soap full time. Or, you know what, I'm retiring from the music industry. Or are you still active in that industry? Like, are you doing both at the same time? Where was that transition for you, that aha moment that tree hugging soap was going to be what it is right now, and you needed to
money. That light bulb goes off, money. I can make money from this, and that's how it's supposed to be. You know, and what that says is that I can do whatever I want to do. You know, and you have to look at it as, maybe this is my calling right now, and you can't be afraid, you know, to dive into that. You know, everything in life is a springboard. You just dive into it. Don't be afraid. You can't listen to soothsayers, and it has to come from here. You got to have that in here. You have to have that spiritual connection first of all.
Mm-hmm.
Not be afraid to challenge anything that comes your way.
Well, I love what you just said right now. It's like, don't be afraid to dive in. So there's a world around us right now. It's chaos happening. There's an idea of scarcity. There's racial tensions. There's an election on the loom. All these different things, but we still need to dive in. We still have.
But remember this: you can't miss what you never had. And I look at it like this: there's so many people suffering and doing worse than I'm doing. And you learn to cultivate yourself, what our ancestors went through. When you think and you know the history of what our ancestors went through, this is nothing. You know what I mean? Like, this is nothing. Like, we've come a long way. And we got this. We got muscle. You know what I mean? We got strength. And we got God. And you can't get distracted with the nonsense, because that's what they want you to do. They want you to fear. They want you to create that fear, because we are our worst own enemy if we allow ourselves to become that. Like, there's a fire that's inside of me. There's a rage, and I have to self-contain myself and self-diagnose myself to be able to say, okay, I need to level off. I need to fall back because I know my power. You know what I mean? I know what I'll do.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get to that level. And so I need to have that. We all have that regulator inside of us, because once you learn how to play chess, you learn how to play your game, not your opponent's game. You want to understand the opponent's game, but never play your opponent's game. Play your game, and you got to stay focused on that. That's our strength, and if you look at what's going on now, remind yourself and keep on point that there is a movement going on like none ever. The devil's a lie. And right now, we're not at war with the devil. The devil's at war with us. You know what I mean? Because we are good. We good.
I said,
we got this.
Drew said he's going to take us full to church right now, y'all.
Yeah.
You hear him? So look, I want to give them some nuggets. So because you said play your game, right?
Right.
Stay on point, no distractions. You can know your opponent's game. This resonates with me. You can know your opponent's game, but you still need to play your game. That is how so many of our ancestors. You'd be like, how did you become a millionaire when there was segregation and you couldn't get a job and the only thing you could be was a maid? Like, exactly. How did you? Madam T.J. Walker is who I'm talking about.
Right.
Becomes the first Black millionaire. I'm gonna say female millionaire, but I think it was first Black millionaire making hair products.
Yeah.
And we're bringing it right back to playing your own game. Tree hugging soap, y'all see. Drew's a very powerful man. Facials. I want to go to your product because I want people to see this because they see you as a person. I know they want to know more about you, and you can see him at any of our market days. He'll be there. And he's funny. I want to see the soap. Can you show them the deodorant?
Let me tell
really
you.
Really good, y'all.
Now, again, remember, I started with the soap. Now, as a matter of fact, this is my daughter's soap. She came up with her own soap. This is called Cutie Pie. This is cocoa and sweet orange. I like to say orange. Orange. Right?
Start them young.
I have 30. Let me just level off. I have 35 different soaps, right? And you go on the website, you'll see everything. Now, from the deodorant, I have 2 different deodorants. One this is the old school. I love something I love about the old school ways, You can apply this, you just use that finger. Just dab on them armpits, And this right here, you can apply this. This is a roll-on, all natural. Get that right there. Put that bad boy on there. When you smelling like hot dogs, hot dogs under your arms.
No.
You get this right here, you good.
I love it. I just transitioned. So I've been using the soap for 2 years now, committed. And then, me and Bart were looking. I said, listen, I want to try a new deodorant. I don't want to wear, the ones in the market with all the funky stuff in anymore.
Parabens and
And
sulfate.
aluminum and all these kind of things and covering up. And it has been magical. So 2 weeks, y'all, and I sweat. And I'm one of them girls, okay? Sport girl, athlete. And this works. It works. One application for the whole day. Make sure your armpits are clean, okay? That's anything that you're putting on. But it's delicious. It smells good. I love your work. I love what you're doing. Tell people how they can find you, Drew. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Tree Hugging Soap. T-R-R-E.
No, you didn't.
Hugging, like hugging, like hugging. Hugging. Soap. SOAP.com. All before we leave, we signing off. I have the creams. Now this cream right here, you apply a little bit of this, any type of skin issue that you may have, eczema, psoriasis, cuts, scrapes, scars, burn, rashes, stretch marks, liver spots, alligator skin, stab wounds, gunshot wounds, anything. You apply some of this right here, it's gone.
Miracle. That's miracle cream right there, y'all.
But yeah, go to the website. I'm not gonna hold y'all. I appreciate y'all for having me, this beautiful platform of y'all's. And let me tell y'all something out in TV land. You see what they're doing? It takes work. And this is what we need to be supporting. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not plugging them. I'm just giving y'all the gospel.
Come on,
we need to support this platform here. This is for the community. This is our community. And if y'all just watching, put your funds in. We got to keep this alive. So don't be complaining about, ain't nothing going on in Miami and I don't know what to do. This is Miami right here.
Come on.
You understand what I'm saying? This is Miami and this is what y'all need. Just to have me on here and everybody before me, that's a blessing. A blessing. And this is what we need. We can't be complaining, sitting around here. When I be going to LA and I go to Atlanta, they be together. This is our community right here. This is how it starts, and this is where it begins, and this is where it ends. You support, you give, don't worry about it, it comes back, but you put in. You put in and you get back. But we need to be supporting our community. This is a blessing. And I appreciate y'all so much. And anything that I can do, you can call on me. You need to be calling on all of y'all out there. I'm so sick and tired of y'all just lazy. This is our community. This is us. This is the love right here, and you just so articulate. Let me tell you, as you articulate, you just making me talk. I can't stop talking because you are bringing all this out of me. That's food, girl. That's medicine.
So this show, I have not had a smile this big. The laughs, you are making my night. This was so good. I really appreciate you being here.
Y'all need to give me the tip bucket. I'm gonna go to everybody's house.
Don't worry.
Over here where I'm at, y'all. I'm in a Caribbean community. I'm going to everybody's house. And let me tell you, by the time I get to y'all, we're going to have another building. And when I say our building, I'm in it with y'all. We family. And
come on. I receive it. I receive it. You heard him. You see him. We love him. And you will too. You can already tell.
Second and fourth
Sunday. You know what I want them to do? I want them to come out to the open marketplace.
Yeah.
I want them to come out and support and give their energy into the space. Come to a dance class. Come to a yoga class. Come to what we're calling the room. Acoustic performances, comedic spaces. Come support our vendors. They're your vendors too. This is our community. So those are one of the things that, we jump on these different calls and these conversations and we go, well, what can we do to help ourselves? And what can we do to empower ourselves? And it really is showing up. It really is showing up for ourselves. It's really being there, getting into Tree Hugging Soap. That is my soap, that's a livelihood that I'm contributing to, that's contributing back into me. So,
but let me tell you something. I'm gonna leave you with this. When you're successful, I'm successful. If I'm successful, you're successful. We have to have that. That's our strength. We can no longer play these damn games and just be at each other's. So we have to start contributing and helping each other. And I tell my friends, God damn it, don't just be calling me when you need something. Call me to check on me. Get in my business. You know what I mean? Like, check on me. Yeah, that's how it works. You know what I mean? Like, hey, Ash, I got some mangoes. So I have 6 mangoes that fell out my tree. Y'all need mangoes over there? Matter of fact, don't even call you to ask you. You know you need mangoes. Just take them over there. Y'all need to stop playing.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh,
So,
man.
so Drew, everything I'm hearing, I love your passion. I love tree hugging soap, as you know, and I'm hearing that community building can't happen in a crisis. We should be doing it all the time. So when crises do show up, when these things do happen, we have that support. This is about navigating the corporate space, but as you guys can see, it navigates itself right into community.
Exactly.
We're entrepreneurs, we're business owners, we've worked jobs, we work jobs as well in corporate America, and we make it happen. We make it happen. Thank you, Drew, for being here with us today.
Thank you so much. And y'all stay blessed. Call me up. I got you. I'm here. I'm there.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you. I am glossy for y'all tonight. Okay, so I'm shining now. I hope y'all like my little glow. Thank you. Was that not fun? Yes, it was absolutely fun. That is Drew from Tree Hugging Soap. Amazing human being. You can feel his spirit just bouncing off the camera. I'm at a loss for words. I want to actually get ready to wrap up our show. We're going to wrap up with a great performance and interview by our featured performing artist, James Clyn, tonight. Before we head to Clyn, I just want to say thank you for everyone who tuned in live and everyone who's watching later on. You guys can come out to the Muse Gallery the 2nd and 4th Sunday. You can check out the Muse Campus, the 2nd and 4th Sunday. We have a gallery there. Right now on exhibition is No More Blues by Sandino Timmy. We'll have vendors like Drew and many others out with their products for you to try out and for you to buy. We say support, but you're going to enjoy it. It's a necessity and things that you need. We'll have a few performances happening, a community garden swap. So if you're looking for new plants, you can learn more about that every 2nd and 4th Sunday at the Muse Campus. We've been moving this movement along for the last 5 years, looking at arts and culture as a way to transform community. Some people just see it as entertainment, but artists know the power. And I think people can feel the power, even if they don't know it exactly, they can feel it. So us as artists, us as producers, we're going to continue, like Drew said, is work. And we're going to continue the hard work of making sure we show up for you as our community. Let's bring James Clyn back to the stage.
Yes. This was awesome. I enjoyed everybody so much.
Thank you. I had a blast. I had a blast with each one of you. Your power. You gave us that power at the beginning. I mean, you summoned the power of our ancestors from that poetic moment, and you're going to bring it all back. You're going to close it all up. You're going to take all that energy. You're going to put it right here for us, James. I'm going to pass the mic.
Yes. Sometimes I try to make my pen cry, and when she doesn't reply is when I know that I've died. I mean, honestly, I'm not sure we're even alive. I've created places and time just to go for a drive. I made the mistake and subscribed to Satan, but survived the relations. My destination was placed inside. Now, why was I blessed to be a poet? I was so close to hopeless, I got a chance to know it. See, when you're focused, you're closest to God. And when you know this, devotion shouldn't be hard. And I wrote this with roses under my arms for all the scars and all those cold nights that kept me warm, because without them, I couldn't identify myself. And for whatever reason, we seem to jeopardize ourselves. And this is not me breathing. I've realized I'm dreaming, just recognizing that I need help. And by the time you read this, I'll be on Venus, putting speeches in sequence and seeking treatments for my secrets. I'll meet Jesus, write about it in a thesis, let him read it, then watch him deem the world needs this. I see no reason for grieving, but still believe in everything I've seen in regards to a demon. So what's the meaning of knowing yourself? And what's knowing if no one is self? I have questions, and having them answer will cure the cancer to my blessings, because I've been stressing since an adolescent. Where's the message in what I'm expressing? Shit, if there ain't no lesson in what I'm professing, I'm better off dead then. And I'm dead in all this coon shit. The platoon I'm with's in full bloom with blueprints to get to the moon. Now, who could stick and move like this? I learned from Ali how eyes lead on how to stay in tune to get rich. Now, this chick said, you could write the gospel. And I said, but, and she said, what has an excuse ever got you? Thank you.
Oh, Y'all, let me get some fingers there, right there. Some snaps, some snaps, some snaps. James,
Thank you.
what has, say the last line. I'm like, rewind.
This random chick said you could write the gospel, and I said, but, and she said, what has an excuse ever got you?
Oh, what has an excuse ever got you, y'all?
The truth.
Oh, you know, in sorority life, we go, what are excuses? You know? Oh, I'm not even gonna try to recite it right now. It's been a while. It's been a while, y'all.
You good.
James, tell me, your journey to poetry, to music, to art, like how did it start? How did you know this was the career path that you were gonna follow? Why are you still on that path today?
It started in high school. Had to write some poems for some homework. You know, procrastinated, waited to the last minute, wrote the poems the day before they were due, and the day after I turned them in, my English teacher pulled me aside and said, "You know, how often do you write poems?" And I said, "I don't write poetry at all." She said, "You should really consider writing poetry because I was really impressed by your poems." And she had like Othello tattooed on her shoulder and like Shakespeare on her calf. She had a lot of. She was really, really serious about literature, so I knew that her words were serious, and I really admired her as a teacher. So I started writing then, and that was my senior year in high school. And why I've stayed on it, just honestly, is like, you know, everything Apple said, which in regards to, you know, I've had tons of jobs, you name it, I've done it, and it's just, you know, I always felt like it was just something I was doing for money. I was never there because I wanted to be there, because I loved it, or because the people there inspired me, or because, you know, I felt fulfilled after I clocked out. I just had to be there because of money. And, you know, I've always seen people react to my music and to my poems. And I just felt I was, you know, just as good as anybody else. But more so why I stayed on it at this point, I've met so many people and I've gone so many places, and art is a form of expression for me. So I feel like I have to stay true to it and stay on the path because it's introduced me to so many powerful people that I call brothers and sisters and family, just from being in the same spaces. So I figure, why not stay true to it and stay on the path and see where it takes me.
And it's taking you far, James. I'm so honored to meet you, to have you on the show tonight. I know we went a little over. I want you to give people just those final words. If you said, here are some words of wisdom. We've been talking about our ancestors. We've been talking about the chaos. We've been talking about the corporate spaces, the passions. What are those words if you said to anyone out there who's trying to figure out what this life is for them in a career field, in a space of passion? I mean, other than follow your passion, what would you tell them right now?
Man, I would double tap everything that everybody has already said, right? And then second, I would say, once you find something that you are passionate about, it's going to teach you more about who you are than most things will. And that's really the most important part, is because working for yourself and working hard on something you believe in is just it's gonna lead you in places and introduce you to things that you never even thought you would be interested in. It will put you in rooms that you never thought you would be in, and it'll have you in rooms that you're not even in yet because of what you create and what you do. There's just, you know, we're, you know, not to you know, get super spiritual, and, you know, I'm not sure what people's beliefs are, but, you know, just referencing the Bible and most holy books, right? You know, we're created in the image of the creator, and if that's the case, then we're all creators, and why not try to make something?
Ooh, come on, why not try to make something? Everybody has the ability and capacity to make something. We are creators. Thank you, James, for being here with us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.
Yes, you can follow him at James Clyn on all social media, Instagram, Facebook, James Clyn. And you guys have an album, right?
Yeah, me and Apple have been working on some music for about a year. He's been extremely patient with me. So I appreciate Apple for that. We just started recording last weekend, and we'll be in the studio again on Saturday. And it's some good stuff, so definitely be on the lookout for that.
Look, y'all, follow the story and look out for the release. I will be looking out, and I look forward to more of your journey and everything that's coming your way. Be blessed, James. Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too. I want to thank everyone for joining in. This was an extended episode of the Juneteenth Playback Digital Series. We will be back for 3 more episodes. So please do check the ones that we started with. We have a few more great guests. Today we were talking about navigating the corporate space, navigating corporate America, following your dreams and your passions, entrepreneurship. We heard lists and schedules. We heard passion a lot. We heard to support each other and collaborate. Make sure you're doing those things. If you know anything about Kwanzaa, you don't. Great principles you can follow in life to make your community grow. So look it up, learn the principles, and apply them. They all matter right here. Stay blessed, y'all. Stay safe out there. Protect yourselves. That's what I have for you today. My name's Ashley Thomas with Muse, the Miami Urban Contemporary Experience. You can find us on all social platforms at MUCE305. Thank you for staying here with us tonight. Y'all have a great rest of your Thursday.